So it's been just over a week since the deal between the A's and the city of Oakland blew up when the A's made a phone call to Mayor Sheng Tao, both Cavill and John Fisher, calling individually to let the mayor know that they have an agreement to purchase land in Las Vegas. So what blew up the deal? Well, there was a week-long negotiating summit that the city and the A's were in to finalize a deal. Now, I don't think, based on what I've been hearing in the background, that the A's were going into this meeting very genuine. A week before this meeting, they had already made the purchase agreement. The port also had reached out to the A's about extending their exclusive negotiating agreement, and the A's had not expressed interest. That agreement expires early May, so a lot of that sets the table for what ended up happening in these negotiations, in which the A's blew up the deal and the mayor called their bluff and walked away. Now let's flip it to the Vegas side of things. Why did this thing blow up so badly and so quickly? My sources told me that the A's and Oakland were 90% of the way there on a deal. 90%! The cost could have been as low as $88 million to finalize this. Knowing how close they are, after working so hard to get this done, why did they suddenly shift to Las Vegas so quickly? Well, if you look at Gap stock right now, John Fisher's net worth is taking a beating. Did it get to the point in Oakland where he realized that, I'm going to actually have to pay for this $1 billion stadium and then this $6 billion ancillary development, and I don't have a plan or the resources to pull this off at the moment? Did he panic and walk away? Why else would you leave a deal that was this close to conclusion and jump straight into Las Vegas? So what are the A's looking at now? They're looking at a situation in Las Vegas where they have no legislation passed for that $500 million they're asking for, no architect on board, no stadium renderings for the site at which they're planning on building the stadium. And you also have people in Las Vegas, power players, that are not on their side. I don't think that if they were going to announce this Las Vegas deal, they would have done it in this way unless they were absolutely desperate and backed into a corner, and that is what's happening right now. People in Las Vegas, I hear, the legislatures, are frustrated because they wanted the A's to buy land, jump in and commit, get a site figured out in order for them to pass legislation for that land. Here we are months into a legislative session, and they just now made an agreement to buy this spot. I believe it is because they ran out of time there. They were talking about the Tropicana site. They were talking about the Festival Ground site. They were talking about the Rio site. But they were non-committal in this process, which is why all of a sudden they jumped in on this Wild Wild West site. Because they had to do something, otherwise they couldn't have passed legislation, and they were forced to make a move very quickly. And that is something that has people in Las Vegas frustrated about. I made a post detailing all of these things. I expected a lot of pushback. What I got instead? Las Vegas locally agreed, pointing out that the Athletics have a few small details to work out before they move to Las Vegas. Right after that, the second biggest Las Vegas account came out, and they said, concur, multiple reports Dave Cavill is rubbing Vegas VPs the wrong way, including letting Vegas yokels know how smart he is and how he attended Stanford. La-di-da. So at this point, you have a baseball owners whose stock is plummeting. You have pushback from Las Vegas. The idea is not as popular as they'd hoped it would be. Oakland is away from the table, so now Las Vegas knows that they do have some leverage in these negotiations. They don't have to pull a team away. They have the team in their grips. Now they can secure a deal that's better for their residents and better for their taxpayers. They don't have to just cough up this money and force this thing to happen. So now the A's have Mark Davis in Las Vegas, the Raiders owner, Allegiant Stadium, now talking out about how they do not want a competing stadium in this ownership group to build in their backyard. And who else is out there? Phil Ruffin, the guy that owns the Festival Ground site? He's apparently upset about how negotiations went with the A's, and there are no power players stepping up at this time to help smooth and secure this deal for the A's in Las Vegas. Remember, when the Raiders went to Las Vegas, Sheldon Adelson, he was the guy that really greased the wheels and made this deal happen, got the Raiders $750 million in public funds, and got the team to Vegas. That is not happening now. What you're seeing is a lot of people stepping up and saying they don't actually want this team, and in fact, they'd probably be a bit better with an expansion team. So is this thing over for Oakland? No, it's not over yet. Does it look really good for Las Vegas? Yeah, it looks pretty good for Las Vegas. If I had to handicap it, I'd probably put it 90% Vegas, 10% Oakland, but there still is a very good chance that this deal in Vegas falls apart. Everything that I'm hearing in the background is that things are not going well. It's rushed, it's half-baked, and there's a lot of questions still remaining. What happens if they can't get it done in Vegas? Well, they're going to have to either come back to Oakland and try to finish the deal, and they'll have lost a lot of the leverage they have in that deal as well, or they're going to have to put the team up for sale. And that's what happened in Sacramento. They had an agreement to sell the team, the Maloofs, to somebody out of market, but when that team went up for sale, that meant anybody else could jump in and buy the squad, and that was the opening they needed to get a local purchase done and keep the Kings in Sacramento. That could absolutely happen in Oakland. That's the Hail Mary. That's the 11th hour miracle that a lot of people would need to be rooting for or hoping for if this team stays here, because right now, Shang Tao has said that it's in the A's court. They could come back to the table, but I think everybody's preference right now, according to all the sources I've heard from, is that a new ownership group comes in and seals the deal. And in Las Vegas, I'm not sure that they're actually that excited to be dealing with this ownership group there as well. They'd probably rather have an expansion team with a whole new identity, something that is uniquely theirs, like the Vegas Golden Knights. So, we'll keep following along. The A's finally return home. They'll have to face the people on Friday, and it's going to be very interesting.